How to properly fog, clean, and store a Polaris Sportsman 400 high output or its Sportsman 500 output for the winter season. Watching this video means you agree to the disclaimer shown. Step 1 is to wash your ATV. Make sure to carefully wash all dirt and debris on the plastic cover of your ATV first. Then, once this is complete, move to the undercarriage of your ATV. During this process, avoid any harsh soaps or cleaners. Step 2. Top up fluids. Top up the coolant in your Polaris Sportsman before storage. Locate your coolant expansion tank, which is underneath the front left wheel well of your ATV. Ensure the coolant levels are between the maximum and minimum line specified on the coolant expansion tank. Open up the front storage compartment of your ATV as shown. Remove the plastic cover that is secured by 4 screws to gain access to your radiator cap. Caution: do not open the radiator cap while the ATV is hot. Inspect the amount of coolant inside the black cup. If the coolant level in the black cup is relatively low, need not to worry, as we have already filled up the coolant expansion tank. Step 3. Burping the coolant system. Bleeding air from the coolant system is necessary to ensure there are no air pockets present in your ATV coolant loop. Elevate the front of the machine 15 to 20 inches off the ground. Then, unscrew your radiator cap. Make sure the ATV is in park and proceed to start the engine. Let the engine reach operating temperature and let it cycle between the thermostat opening and closing several times. You will see the cycling occurring as the fluid in the radiator will go up and down several times. You will see bubbles rising to the surface of the coolant in the black radiator cup. These are the air pockets being bled from the coolant system. When you are satisfied with the amount of air that has been bled from the system, turn off the engine and let the radiator system cool down at this time. Then, when the radiator system is no longer hot or warm, proceed to close the radiator cap tightly and make sure it is secure back on the radiator bowl. And return the ATV to a level ground where the front is no longer elevated off the ground. Replace the plastic cover with the 4 screws on top of the radiator cap. Step 4. Stabilize the fuel. Note that the following only applies to carbureted engines. If your ATV does not have a carburetor and instead has a fuel-injected engine, this tutorial section is not for you. Carbureted engines are more affected by bad gas than fuel-injected engines. Many of the lower-cost fuels may have more contaminants in the gas which can clog the carburetor or even the fuel injectors. This is why I recommend putting 91 octane gasoline in your ATV for the winter season. We must fill up the tank completely with the proper ratio of fuel stabilizer to gasoline before storing. Here is a quick example. Reading this specific fuel stabilizer bottle, it states that the application rate is 1 ounce treats 1 gallon of gasoline. I then go and look at the level of gas that I have in my jerry can and find out that I have 2.2 gallons of gasoline in this specific jerry can. Knowing the ratio is 1 ounce for 1 gallon of gasoline, that means I must approximately add about 2.2 ounces of fuel stabilizer to my jerry can of gas for the proper ratio. Note that the fuel stabilizer ratio for your specific fuel stabilizer will differ from this video. Thus, always read the bottle to ensure that the proper ratio is used before mixing the fuel stabilizer with gasoline. Once you have the proper ratio of fuel stabilizer to gasoline in your jerry can, the next step is to pour that into your ATV. I suggest using a filter and a funnel to avoid spilling gasoline. Step 5. Draining the carburetor and shutting off the gas line. First, we will shut off the gas line. To do this, we look at the fuel valve. The fuel valve is located in the left front wheel well. If your fuel valve's configuration is currently open, it should look like the figure here. According to the Polaris maintenance manual, we must turn the valve to off configuration for vehicle storage and when transporting. Most carburetors have a drain line at the bottom, which lets the user open a screw to let gasoline flow out of the carburetor bowl. The carburetor shown in this demonstration is not from a Polaris Sportsman 450 or 500 high output. Draining the carburetor bowl, ensure you have some type of bucket or barrel or pan underneath your ATV to capture the excess gasoline that will be discharged underneath your ATV. Step 6. Fogging the engine. To fog the engine, we must first locate the spark plug cap. For the ease of explanation, here is a section view of the engine. The spark plug cap is located on the top of the block of the engine. To access the spark plug cap, you may need to remove some of the plastic siding on the ATV, or put your hand behind the left front fender to pull it out. Once you have found the spark plug cap, which is rubber, you may now take it off the end of the spark plug. Now it is time to remove the spark plug itself. You may use the spark plug removal socket that came with your ATV. There are also spark plug removal kits online. With your wrench socket, insert it into the spark plug cylinder. At this point, make a counterclockwise rotation with your wrench socket to remove the spark plug from the cylinder. At this point, the Polaris maintenance manual tells you to rotate the piston to BDC and pour 2 ounces of engine oil into the cylinder. Polaris recommends using 2W50 engine oil. However, 5W50 engine oil will do the trick as well. Once you have poured about 2 ounces, 59 milliliters of engine oil into the cylinder, it is time to reinstall the spark plug and torque to specification. At this point, turn the engine over several times. Oil will be forced in and around the piston rings and ring lands, coating the cylinder with a protective film of fresh oil. If you have already drained the carburetor bowl and shut off the gas line, then there will be no gas to the engine of the ATV. Not to worry. Simply turn the key and let the starter turn the engine a couple times. Only let the starter turn the engine over a couple times. Do not wear out the starter. Step 7. Removing and storing the battery for the winter. Disconnect the battery from the hold-down strap. Then, remove the battery cover if equipped. On conventional batteries, remove the battery vent tube. Then disconnect the black battery cable first, then the red positive battery cable last. Now lift the battery out of the ATV. Ensure that you do not tip the conventional battery sideways, which could spill electrolyte. Store your battery in a cool, dry place with temperatures no lower than 0 degrees Celsius and no higher than 27 degrees Celsius. Try maintain your battery above the nominal 12.5 volts during the storage period. That concludes this tutorial. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to add to the comment section of this video. Any action you take to service your ATV is strictly at your own risk. Remember, this video was not created by Polaris. This video was brought to you by Outside Living. Disclaimer. The information in this video shall be used for entertainment purposes only. In no way is this video provided under a warranty about the completeness, reliability, and accuracy of this information. AKA, this video could contain errors. Any action you take to service your ATV is strictly at your own risk, and this video will not be liable for any losses or damages that result in attempting any at-home ATV repair or maintenance. This video is not created by Polaris. This video is not offering professional advice. This video has not created a professional relationship or obligation.